Hello, everyone.
I'm Carl.
And I'm Em.
Welcome to our podcast discussing all the latest books. This is our monthly bonus episode, and today we will be giving you our top 15 most anticipated reads on our TBRs. There'll be no ratings to save till the very end, but we'll give you our opinion and our excitement for each book as we go through.
And there shouldn't be that many spoilers. It's just for the fact that we may discuss what we've heard about the books, but we've not read
Yeah,
any of these to be able to say for sure that that is what happens. So,
correct.
but we promise to give you all of our honest opinions and all the characters, chapters, and scenarios, and we don't mean any harm to any of the authors. This is solely our opinion, and as always, we promise to Karl and Em like we read them.
Period. We also won't be giving you a little trigger warning list for each book, but be sure to check that out before you dive into any new world, just to take care of yourselves.
And you can read along with some of them with us as we may choose them for our podcast in the future. So, are you ready to get started?
Let's get into it.
Okay, so you want to go first since I went first last one?
Sure. This is probably not the one to start off with. And honestly, this probably should be on the Hear Me Out episode that we just did. So these are not in any particular order either,
Same.
by the way. But yeah, so one of them is Bride by Allie Hazelwood. Emily's going to call me out for my werewolf obsession.
Yeah, definitely not going to be reading that one. Definitely off any TBR that I may have thought about putting it on. Not happening. But good for you.
Okay, we don't have to be mean.
Good for you. So mine's an obvious choice, which at the point of this episode, I will have already read it. So excited for me, future me. So glad you've read this already. But in this particular moment we are recording this, has not come out yet. And that is obviously Onyx Storm. So
Wholeheartedly agree. It's on my list as well.
yeah.
Yeah. No. It's probably my most anticipated read on this list.
100%.
I'm not going to say the rest were in any order, but that is one of the top
Like
ones.
I am like so excited for it. I am literally taking off that day to read that book. It better be in my mailbox that day because it's happening.
Oh my gosh, what if it's not? What are you going to do?
I'll probably cry because the last time, I was supposed to get the second book of Say You
I
Swear.
knew what you were going to answer.
Yeah, I was supposed to get the second book of Say You Swear, and I ended up with the daggum spandex instead.
That's so funny.
I'm gonna probably cry. Probably
Okay,
will drive to Barnes and Noble and just buy a second book just because.
Oh my gosh, don't do that. You go ahead and go again because that's one of mine.
Okay, my next one is something that I've heard everyone on Book Talk currently talking about. Well, it's been a little bit since it became like a phenomenon, but it's just recently got released. It's being made into a movie, and that is Quicksilver.
Oh, yeah.
Super excited to read that one.
I keep seeing TikToks by the author.
Same. I hadn't up to this point, but recently I've started seeing a lot more.
Okay, and that's another one on my list. So you go again.
So this one, I've actually had the books on my bookshelf for, gosh, probably at least the first two have been on my shelf for like 6 months. The other one just recently got released, so don't have it yet. But that is the Like Lark series.
That is also on my list. Matter of fact, I just bought the third one last weekend so that I have all three now.
Yeah. So I actually was around whenever she started promoting Lightlark on Book Talk. She did all self-publishing or self-advertising, basically. So, like, I was around then. And then when it first came out, everybody was talking about it. And then I started seeing a lot of negative things after that. So I was like, I'm probably going to put it off. And then the second book came out and everybody's talking about it again. And then now the third book's come out and everybody's talking about it again. I've not heard anything bad about the second or third books. So I'm hopeful.
I'm a little nervous because it has a love triangle. And I think she ends up with one at first and then ends up with the other for a little bit, and, like, you don't know who she obviously ends up with at the end because it's a 5-book series,
Mhm.
but so, like, it's a back and forth. So I'm a little nervous about that because I don't really like love triangles, and, like, if there is a love triangle, like, I need it to be quick, brief, and clear, like, who's meant to be together kinda thing. Unless we're just gonna be a throuple, then that would be different, but
Is it
I don't
true
know.
that, like, I heard, like, she has to kill one of them to, like, survive or something like that?
So my understanding is, like, she gets with the good guy, but in book 3, the bad guy that wants her says, like, he'll stop attacking and killing their kingdom if she comes and lives and bees with him.
Okay.
So, spoiler, sorry.
We've not read it.
Yeah, I mean, that's just based off what I've seen on TikTok. I don't know for sure exactly what happens, but my understanding is her and the good guy want to say get married.
Is it didn't she just say that she has 2 more books coming out next year? The 4th
Yeah,
one and then another one that's like a prequel or something as well?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
So it's not I might wait until the final one comes out and read the whole
I
thing
thought it
as
was
opposed to
supposed to
having
be a
to.
trilogy, but now she's saying there's a 4th book, so
Well, and there's 5 total, and I don't know if one of them is a prequel, but I don't know if it will add background that we're
yeah.
gonna need. I don't have any idea. So that'll be interesting. We'll see from there. But alright, that is one of mine that's been on my I don't really like to start in the middle of a series. I like kind of to let it if I can let it finish, and then I'll read the whole
She's
thing.
very mad at me
So
still about Fourth Wing, so
well, look how anticipated number 3 is, and we still have 2 more to go.
you know it's gonna be really bad?
When it takes 3 years for her to come out with the next book?
Yeah, because she said she was taking 2 years off to write the next one.
Rebecca, honey,
She said that
why can't we finish
she
this
has
and then take
another
2 years off?
no, she has another love story that she's releasing
I
in
don't care.
June, so they're really
No.
good too. They're worth the read.
They're standalones. I want to finish the series.
She
Tired.
said she said that it took her
I
so
need
long
to know
on
what
this one
happens.
because she just like the hype and everything around it was just too much that it was like getting her in her head where she couldn't write it. So that's why she
Well, we also saw that she does not watch TikToks. So sadly, she will not listen to our podcast or watch our TikToks probably ever.
probably.
But it is what it is. Go again because that one was on my list.
Okay, so this one actually got sent to me by the author.
Look
I
at you, brag.
humble. But I'm super excited to read it because it looked like a really good series, and I'm in my current romance era, so it is a steamy hockey romance series. And I don't know if you follow the TikToker May May, but she recently has been reading this series, and she's loved it. So, and she's in our hockey romance era specifically. So, it is the Don't Let Me series by Kelsey Ray.
Yeah. It's also been all over TikTok because there's a Black Friday deal on it.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you buy it?
No, she sent it to me months ago.
Oh, that's right. She sent it to you.
Yeah. She sent it before it kind of became a big thing. I just have not got around to being able to read it.
She also does a lot of self promotion, and I
Mhm.
see her TikToks all the time of her being like, "So what if your boyfriend?" Like
Yeah.
all the time. I
But she
like it.
draws you in with it because it's like, oh, well, that's a steamy, spicy gossip thing. And then you're like, oh, wait, no, it's just her book. But I'm invested.
This is one that Emily has wanted me to read for quite some time now, so it's on my list to try to accomplish into the next year, and that's the Mind Deaf series.
It's
I'm
not
kind of sad
bad.
though that the author's dead.
I mean, yes, but it's still a
Kind of
good
like
book.
I don't know. It's kind of morbid.
I guess I should say it's a really good series because it's 5.
It's a lot to
I
commit
have
to.
the whole book, which honestly, the whole book's $20, like all 5 books in one book, so reasonable,
Yeah, no, I agree.
but super super good. I can't wait for you to read that one.
I know. You've been talking about it for a long time.
So excited.
I think I'll enjoy it too. Like I don't disagree, but I just got to get to a place where I can read 5 books.
Honestly, if you read it on KU, it goes by really quickly. So I think you wouldn't take that long to read all 5.
Okay.
The big book is intimidating. The smaller one's less intimidating.
It'll have to be on KU because if it's a physical book, I'll never get through it.
Yeah. So I'm not one for a long commitment to read because I'm a mood reader. However, I've heard about the series for years. I've decided that it is one of my goals for this year, and that is the Zodiac Academy series.
Oh,
So I'm at least committing that I am going
okay.
to try to read 3 of the books. Now, all of them, can't tell you, but at least 3.
Okay, so you can't just read 3. You have to read all 8.
No, I plan on it. Just in 2025, I can't guarantee I'll finish the whole series.
Gotcha. My question is this: why are you reading that 8-book series instead of my 8-book series?
Do you want the honest truth? Because it may hurt your feelings. I didn't like Akatar as much.
They're not the
I
same.
know, but it didn't make me want to read The Throne of Glass.
Well, you're missing out. And I tried to read Zodiac Academy and I DNF'd it.
Well, that's possible. And then I may replace it with Throne of Glass. I have them all
Guys,
on Kindle.
Don't
I had
don't
like
lie
a
to me.
Black Friday special last year for Throne of Glass. I just have not had any.
See, this is why I don't feel like I want to read your series. Because I feel like it's supposed to be a give and a take, and you don't give.
I do.
You don't read anything I ask you to read.
What is this whole podcast? We
Uh,
choose. You choose one. I choose
we
one.
choose them together.
Eh.
What is this whole podcast?
You choose one. I choose one.
Not really.
Yeah.
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 Okay. You've probably never heard of this one, but I own this one and have for probably over a year now. It's just like a cute little rivals to lovers kind of romance, and I've just never gotten around to reading it, and so it's on my list to read next year. It's called Dating Dr. Dill.
Never heard of
He's not like a doctor if I recall correctly. He's like a love doctor. And she's like, that's garbage. And then they end up obviously falling in love because that's what a romance is. But just like a cute little fun romance.
So speaking of books that you think that I never will read because of your recommendations, the Ravenhood series
Yay!
is on my list.
It's gonna
So
destroy
you can
you.
take all of that back.
We'll see if you actually read it because I've been asking for a long time.
I do have the first book. I just got through reading you what was on my KU. I have it in there. I'm in my
Dang.
romance era, specifically cowboy romance era. So
Now that that's I know that's true. You are specifically in your cowboy era right now. Every day it's a new cowboy romance that I should read. So my next one is a hockey romance. And I've dabbled a little bit in hockey romances, but I haven't read a ton. And this one is The Deal
okay,
by Elle Kennedy. That's a pretty popular one.
I've
But
had her in my KU like that book off and on, and like I just
yeah.
can't.
Well, and I have the full series for that, because she has
Yeah,
multiple, but I have that 5 book series. I
Briar
own it. I
U.
just need to commit. No, I think that one's off
Oh,
campus.
okay,
Briar U is the companion one, I think.
gotcha.
But yes, I just need to commit to it,
I've heard
quite
good
frankly.
things about her writing. It's just I don't know something like it. Just I guess I really think it's the cover. Icebreaker kind of threw me on the cover for quite some time because it was just kind of like cartoonish. I don't know.
See, I like little cartoon covers. I don't like the cover for The Deal where it's like the girl in the t-shirt or whatever. Have you seen that one?
I
I'll
don't
show
think
you. Hang
so.
on. This one right here.
The only one honestly
This
I
one
can say
is
I remember seeing is the deal.
this one is weird to me. It's very sexualized.
Oh yeah,
I don't like that. And like there's some smut in the book, yes, but it's not. I mean, that looks like I don't like it. So,
yeah.
I liked the cartoon one better for that scenario. Sometimes cartoon covers mean it's not very good.
Well, and it just I don't know something. It reminds me of like a kid's book, and like it's just hard for me to like, especially with most of them do not have kid friendly. Like if it was on like a young adult book, I could kind of get behind it. But whenever it's on like an adult book, it's kind of hard for me to get. I would rather you
I
have the
think
real
they do that
characters.
so that you're like in public not reading. what appears to be a dirty
I'd
book.
rather have a naked man on the front cover than I would just a cartoon with what's inside
That's
of
funny.
the book. I'd rather people know.
Hmm. Okay.
Okay. So my next one is something we both talked about reading, and we actually considered for the podcast, but we ended up going with something else instead, and that is The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren.
Okay.
I've just heard really good things about it, and I really enjoyed the last book we read of theirs, so I really am enjoying reading their style. So
No, I agree. So it's not on my list, but hers, the Unhoneymooner specifically, and then actually it is there, doesn't it? It's two people writing together or something, isn't it? Anyways, and then Emily Henry. Some of her other ones are kind of like it's
mhm.
more of like a beachy vibe, summer vibe. So I do plan to try to get some of those again next summer,
Yeah.
like we did beach read this year, because I liked both of those. Okay, so then the next one on my list, and this is because I loved the one we read for the podcast, even though I did not think I was gonna love it. But this is the next one by Kristen Hanna that I've been told like you need to read it. So, and that's The Women.
Okay, so I had that on my list and I actually marked it off and put something else instead, but I had it on my list.
Maybe we'll read it for the podcast down the road.
I have to say, I thoroughly enjoyed her book, and I've
Agree.
not heard much bad things about all of her other books.
So I've heard all great
I have
things.
three or four or five other ones of hers that I look
Oh, see, I
forward
don't
to.
own. All I own is the Nightingale.
I bought that
So
box
like,
set off a book outlet.
oh, that's right.
Speaking
I remember
of,
that.
code in the comments. So, but I bought the box set off of there, and it was like $20.
Yeah.
So my next one is the Boys of Tommen series. I've heard a lot about it, good
Hmm.
and bad. So I'm not quite sure.
Is
Um,
that the F1 stuff?
no, I don't think so. The F1 one I think is Lauren Asher.
Oh, okay.
But I'm not really quite sure what it's about. To be honest, I thought it was a firefighter romance by the 13 in covers. But what really has honestly thrown me off of reading it is that the numbers all got released out of order and it's not 1 through like 13. So that really bugs my OCD.
That bugs me too.
Yeah, so like it really I think she released like 13 and then 6 and then 7. So like it really bothered me and I
What
know
if
that's like
I need to know what the numbers are to know why that was that
I don't
way?
know. I'm not quite sure.
Okay, when you read it, I want to talk about it.
Yeah. So it's binding 13, keeping 13, saving 6, redeeming 6 and then taming 7. So like it really bothers my OCD. And I know that's like the stupidest reason not to read a book series, but like it's really bothered me where
I
I've
don't think that's the dumbest reason. I mean, not liking the cover, but
no,
like
I like the
liking
covers. Like the
the
covers
blurb.
are pretty
No, no,
interesting.
no. No, I was gonna say, like, if you read the blurb and the blurb sounds really good, but then you look at the cover and you're like, I don't really like the cover, and then you don't read it. That might be dumb.
Yeah. No.
But I don't think the numbers being out of order
Because my thing
and
is if
not
I'm gonna like
aesthetically
it,
pleasing.
I'm gonna want to buy it as a trophy, and sitting on
Yeah,
my
you
shelf
have
and
to
it
look
not
at it.
being in numerical order is gonna drive me insane.
At least it is like highest to lowest, though.
No,
At least it's not 13, 6,
it
7.
is.
Oh,
Yeah. Binding 13, keeping 13, saving 6, redeeming 6, taming 7.
I thought it was saving 6.
Uh-uh.
Okay. Saving 7. Okay. Nope, never mind.
Yeah.
That's bad. Yeah, I don't want that.
Yeah.
I'm not reading that.
It's really thrown me off.
Maybe just don't buy the physical copy then.
I,
Because on KU, you can send the book back and then read the next one. You don't
yeah.
have to see them all
Yeah,
together.
that's my strategy.
It's a good idea. Okay, so my next one is Bright Young Women. This has been on my bookshelf for quite some time. I own it. It's a beautiful book, and I think I would love it if I would just commit to it and actually read it.
Oh, you're gonna have to at some point. Spoiler.
Oh, I didn't know we were going to spoil it.
We give them some download.
Matter of fact, is this our March episode?
Yep.
We might be
We're doing it in
reading
May.
this. Oh, okay. Look at you
Don't
go.
know if you want to spoil it that bad, but
That's fine. It's in May.
so the next one I want to read is something that the main male character has been compared to being greater than Zayden. And if everybody
Yes.
knows how I feel about Zayden, I've got to read this challenge because if they're superior, I will admit it. But if not, I will tell everybody that they're wrong. So it is the city of gods and monsters. So
I have heard great things about it too, and if you like it, I'll probably give it a try.
yeah,
But I want somebody else that I know to read it first.
I've read it. I've read a lot about it. Willing to give it a try. It's like I think it's like Grumpy Sunshine, Found Family, Bodyguard, Touch Her and You Die kind of thing. So like all of the stuff that we like. But
Yes.
I'm just kind of hoping that it's good. But I think I'm going to be going into it expecting better than Zayden, and that's going to be a high standard to try to live up to.
If the miscommunication trope is not there, but all the other things about Zayden are there, he'll be better for me than
Well, and
Zayden. Because
apparently,
the miscommunication trope really disenchanted me in book 2.
I don't know if this is all, or if they're all out yet, but apparently it's a 3-part series.
Jeez.
And I don't know if they're all out yet, but there's City of Gods and Monsters, City of Souls and Sinners, and the other one is Cities of something in Legends. I can't read it from the angle
Hmm.
that it's at.
Okay. Well, speaking of a series that I think is not complete, this is another one that Emily has begged me to read, sends me TikToks all the time, and I'm on board. I just have to schedule it into my current TBR. And that's the Mile High series. Now, correct me if I'm wrong though, there's a book 5 that's missing?
Book 5, I think, is coming out next year.
Do we know when next year?
I don't think she's even released a cover yet.
Okay, so maybe once I know when it's going to be released, I can schedule to read the 4 leading up to the release and make that fun.
So there's only 5 in this series.
But there's only 4 out so far.
Yes, but she just released the 4th one, so I don't know how.
Oh, she did. Okay.
Yeah. This publication date is April 24th of 2025.
Okay.
So next month from when this podcast is released. It's so weird talking to ourselves in the future.
It is because like we also won't watch this episode in the future.
No.
So we're not really talking to our future selves.
Tomato.
It's weird, but whatever. Okay, so what's your next one?
So my next one is, I think it's supposed to be a hockey romance as well.
Okay.
And I say that because the Icebreaker author is quoted on the covers of all of them. So I think it is, but it is the Playing for Keep series by Becca Mack.
Oh, I if I remember correctly, I think you're right. I think that is hockey.
I think there's 4 books in the series, but I'm in my romance era, so I was committing. I've heard it's kind of spicy though, so I don't know.
Yeah. The first one for sure is hockey. I don't know if they're all hockey,
Okay.
but I know the first one is. Okay, so this one is not spicy. This one is a little bit more serious, I guess. More like philosophical, coming of age kind of vibe. And it's In 5 Years
Have I heard?
by Rebecca. Rebecca Surley, I think I say her last name. It's about a woman that wakes up in 5 years and her life is completely different. So it's like retrospective of like looking back at the past, looking at the future sort of thing. I think it'd be a really good read, especially like right now in my mid 20s. Because in 5 years, life will be so different in theory.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think it'd be like a really cool read.
Gotcha. So my next one is my girl Rebecca. So I have a couple books of hers that I have not gone to, but it's just because I've also heard they're gonna wreck me, and the last letter took me quite some time to recover from. So in the likely event is the first one I want to read, and then honorable mention is the letters we leave unfinished or something like that.
Yeah,
Those are the last 2 of hers I have not read, so I'm excited to finally get to
fair
them, but
enough.
hopefully they don't emotionally wreck me as bad.
You'll have to let me know. I don't know that I can take another
Variation
right
was
now.
really, really good. I enjoyed Variation. It,
But it wasn't like an emotion. I don't know. I kind of liked being emotionally
I mean, I
wrecked.
did cry a little bit, but it was just like it was so sweet. Like I shed tears, and then she had several moments that I thought another daggum child was gonna die, and I was like, "Do not do this again to me, Rebecca." So, like, there was like at least 2 instances that like the child gets into like a life altering like situation.
Yeah, I can't have that.
But I mean, it was really really sweet. It's about a ballerina, and then he is like a National Guard kind of person. He like rescues people out of the ocean, or
Okay.
Coast Guard, I guess it would be. And so they're like childhood friends slash they became enemies, but like for a very serious reason.
Mhm.
And like it's almost like a mystery unravel, kind of like Fourth Wing, where just like you start
Okay.
unraveling like different things, but it's just really really sweet how it ends. So, and he's also
Okay.
like the uncle, and like that's just extremely attractive, like kind of trope to me. So I don't even know if it's an official trope, but like the uncle is needs to be a trope because
The fun uncle.
he's not really like the fun uncle, but like he's just like you're not dad, but like you're like dad adjacent, I guess you can say.
Okay.
Because
Fair
I
enough.
don't
Fair
want
enough.
kids, so like
Right.
returns
You
them.
like somebody to enjoy them with and then send them back.
Yeah, yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, so my last one was a little bit more serious. This is not serious at all. And I'm very this is probably other than Onyx Storm, these two books are probably at the very top of my list. The third book I think comes out in like February. So might even jump up the list to try to get them done in time to read the third one when it comes out in February. But that's Butcher and Blackbird and Leather and Lark. They're spicy, they're serial killers, it's hot, steamy. What more could you want?
Butcher and Blackbird, I haven't bought the second one because I heard it wasn't as great. So I'm not sure. When Butcher and Blackbird came out, I was all for wanting to read them, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna
Yeah,
wait till the second one comes out just to have at least two to read." But then I
yeah.
heard the second one sucked, so then I was like, I don't think I'm gonna move it up my list as much."
Yeah. So Scythe, however you say it, and Sparrow is the third one, and I'm pretty sure it comes out in February. And I believe it is a trilogy, so it will be complete at that
Okay,
point. And I think I'll probably commit and at least try Butcher and Blackbird first, if I like it, and then move on to Leather and Lark. But I believe it is a trilogy,
gotcha.
so it'd be nice to have a complete series.
My next one is actually something we both own that we both talked about reading, and we chose beach read instead. So, book lovers
Yes.
is definitely one of mine that I want to get to. It's like literally at the top of my bookshelf, just like staring there, torturing me, like, read me. And then I'm like, I don't have time for you.
You're
But
such a dork.
I just feel like it speaks to me because, like, I'm a book lover. So, like, you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah, it's another one I think that has like a little bit of a beachy vibe. So like it's on my,
Yeah.
my summer list if I have extra time to pick one of those up. Okay, so then my next one is The Long Game by Elena Armis.
Did you read a
Clearly
couple
I'm
by
not very
her?
good at this. Yes, I've read two
Yeah.
others by her.
Love Deception?
Yes, and The American Roommate Experiment. My next one is actually by her also, but they're just like cute little fun romances. They have different tropes. So like the first one was like rivals to lovers, and then also kind of like boss and not. And then the second one, The American Roommate Experiment, was friends to lovers. They're just little cute, kind of palate cleansing romances, I would say. They're not super short either, so it's not like I'm doing just like 150 pages and moving on with it. It has actual storyline, and I love the characters normally. So that's definitely probably mid list, maybe. It's got to get bumped up because it's been out for a little bit
Yeah.
now.
One
So much,
spoiler.
so much so she's able to release another book. Like, so it's been some time.
Yeah.
But
So my next one I actually bought because the cover and the sprayed edges were so pretty.
of course you did.
Yeah, absolutely. I ain't ashamed of it. But also, Book Outlet had it on sale. So throwing that in there again. Code still in the
Naturally.
comments. So it's actually Heavenbreaker. And
Yes.
like after I got
Why do
it,
I also own that? Because it's pretty.
yes. See,
I can't even
judge
judge
me.
you.
So I bought it, but then I read the blurb and it sounded super interesting. I just have not gotten into fantasy, so like that's why I have a lot more fantasy stuff on my reads for this next year because I want to get back into fantasy because I have like four bookshelves full of fantasy and I'm reading all the romance instead. So,
So you're also not going to read my recommendation of reading From Blood and Ash.
I'm going to read one of your other recommendations, which is next on my list.
Okay, so speaking of Elena Armas, my other one is The Fiancé Dilemma.
Yeah, I heard that one.
You
Didn't
see
we
that?
have an arc on that one?
Yeah, we did, and I should have read it as an arc, but we got that about the time that we committed to Twilight
Yeah.
and also Midnight Sun and also Bree
We
Tanner,
got
and there was
so
just too much.
so many good arcs there during that time, and we did not read, I don't think, any of them.
No,
So
there was
sad.
too much going on. I did not have the, and it was summer. I just did not have the
Yeah.
capacity to commit to one more thing. But it's definitely on my list. It sounds super cute.
So, oh, excuse me. Next one is a recommendation by you that
Mm,
I've decided to contribute. I think I have
made me
four
nervous.
books out of the five I think there is, but I own four of them. So, and that is The Red Queen.
Oh, that is not a recommendation by me. I've never read it.
I thought you told me to read it. No, we were
I
talking about the
told you that
drama between
some.
the authors, and you said that it was on
Yes.
your list to read.
Yep.
Well, I didn't know
Okay,
anything
well, now
about
we should read it for the podcast. That's what you're saying.
it. I'm not doing a 5 book commitment
Evidently,
again. I ain't gonna lie.
we could spin it out over 2 months. At this point, nobody's listened to us anyway, so we can do whatever we want.
I spent
I've
three
heard that
hours
it's
on our
really good.
Thanksgiving post. Thank you very much.
You did wonderful. I have heard that it's really good though.
I'm excited.
And is it a full 5-part series or is any of those novellas? I own it. I can
I
go
own
look, but I
four,
don't.
I know, but it looks like the fifth one in the picture is like the same size as the other four, so I
Okay.
don't think there's any novellas.
Maybe I'm thinking of Shatter Me. That's been on my list for
I
forever,
was gonna add
but
that
because
too.
there's so many things, I can't commit to it.
Yeah.
So much. Okay, so to round out my list, this is an author I own like 3 or 4 of her books, and I have not been able to commit and read one yet. It's another cute little romance, and that's Talia Hibbert, and this one is highly I can't even you can't even see it, but it's highly suspicious and unfairly
I
cute.
think we had that.
It's a cute little cartoon cover, but I've heard it's really good. And there's a couple others by her that I've heard are really good too that I wanted to read and dip my toe in to Talia's. I have her on TikTok and she's so funny and like sweet and every time I see it I'm like I need to read one of her books. I need to read one of her books. And I still just have not yet. But that one right there like that one I think was the first one I saw by her that like a TikTok or something and then learned about her other ones from that one.
Gotcha.
So, definitely need to read that.
Okay, so my last one is a series I've seen a lot of my favorite book talkers talk about recently, and I actually have had it on my shelf for a little bit after I got into Fourth Wing because I heard that it dives more into like the dragon fantasy kind of situation. So I had bought it. It's been sitting on my shelf. I have all 5 books. Have not read it. But it is definitely highly up there, especially after I watched one of the TikTokers like cry over one of the books, which to me it did not seem like that series. So it is the Red Rising series.
Oh, okay.
So I'm super excited to get into it. I've not really honestly read a lot of I'm sorry, I only have 3 books and then one of the novellas. I don't have the fifth one. I've not really dived deep into like straight fantasy. It's been more romantasy, and I've heard this is more like straight fantasy. So
Okay. I have one honorary mention that you DNF'd, and that's the Guild series. This has been on my list for forever. Again, a just a multiple book series is so it's hard to commit to that many books. Just feels intimidating, like I'll never finish. But I would really like to finish it this year. And it's on KU, so like that makes it even more accessible, but I know that you DNF'd it, which is like not a you thing, so I'm a little nervous now.
it was just it was a lot right off the bat for me. It was hard.
That's fair.
My honorable mention is actually series. I have the first one in my KU library, but
Oh, yes, yes,
I
yes.
own the entire series, but I have not got to it, and I've heard it's like super good. So I'm kind of excited to read them.
Yeah, I need you to read it and tell me how it is.
It's a plan for some point in time, but Currently reading my cowboy romances, so
I understand.
I think it's about like a student who undergoes a study or something like that.
Yeah, if I remember
Am I
correctly,
right?
that sounds right.
Okay.
I don't remember exactly what it was, or I know there's a couple of them though.
Rebecca's going to a Taylor Swift concert.
Oh, that's so fun.
They're wearing shirts that says lights, camera, bitch, smile.
Oh, that's cute. All right, ma'am. So, are there any other books or anything that you would like to mention?
My only like other anticipated release is something we were just talking about, and that's The Perfect Divorce. I've just got The Perfect Marriage collector's edition in. So I'm super excited to get The Perfect Divorce and read it. And I'm really excited to reread this one because I've heard she's changed some things in it.
Yeah,
We'll
me
see.
too.
But I can't think of, besides Mile High, honestly, I'm more anticipated next year for, or I guess this year at this time of this podcast comes out, are the Marvel movies that are going to come out.
That's fair. Me
It's a
too.
busy year for Marvel.
It is. That's because we've had a little bit of a break. We've been doing just a little TV series for a
Yeah.
couple bits here. All right. Well, so if you like this episode, thank you for subscribing. We hope that you'll continue to subscribe on Patreon. As you're aware, you can get access to bloopers, extra content, community chat, and more on Patreon. Our free episodes are released on all podcasting platforms on the first and third Fridays of each month. If there is a fifth Friday, that will be our bonus episode for that month.
You can also send us book suggestions, comments, or general inquiries to our email at likewereadthem at karlmpodcast.com. You can also subscribe to get our monthly newsletter as well. You can join us on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram for more engagement from us and the latest news. Karl, do you want to let them know what our next read is?
On February 21st, Emily's very excited about this one. We will be discussing Say You Swear by, what's her name?
Megan Brandy.
Megan Brandy. We appreciate you tuning into this episode. We hope you'll join us for that episode. I'm sure we'll have plenty of thoughts about that one.
I
It's
will.
one of Emily's favorite book boyfriends, too.
No,
So
he's my
we'll,
top book boyfriend.
excuse me,
Yeah,
he's her top book boyfriend. So she'll
absolutely.
have plenty of thoughts to say about him.
Absolutely.
And don't forget to join us over on Fable so we can discuss as we read. And as always, we promise to Carl them like we read them.